Welcome back to ETBU Extra as we talk Tiger Athletics here today, live from the Huffman Student Activities area on the campus of East Texas Baptist University. And if you've never been in the Huffman Student Activities area, happening at noon, obviously, as students are eating lunch. Some students are getting coffee from Jasmine's. And of course, as we go through the show, we have different coaches come on. And I said just hi to head coach Lindsay Mash of Tiger Volleyball, and she thought she was next. And then when Coach Eargle joins me now, he says, hey, let's talk volleyball first. So let's talk volleyball first.
Let's talk volleyball. How awesome is our volleyball team?
Well, pretty awesome when Pastor Glenn Stone from Mobley recognized him right off the bat when he spoke this morning in chapel.
If you get mentioned in chapel, you know you're a big deal.
And you got mentioned in chapel, too.
No, not me. ETBU volleyball is a big deal, and people need to recognize where they're going and how awesome they are. Man, it was awesome to see that. I'm disappointed they only had 5 home contests this year.
I notice a lot of your players go watch that. That's kind of I won't say unique about, well, it is unique about our campus. A lot of our sports go support one another.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the first one on that bandwagon. ETBU is a family, and especially our athletic department, but just in general. I mean, ETBU students, they love one another. They hang out with one another all the time. That's why there's so many common areas. I mean, from our residence halls to the student center, all over campus, there's great areas where everybody can hang out with one another and be a family.
Okay, Coach, can we talk football now?
Let's go.
All right. Tiger football, of course, played last Saturday night. Unfortunately, lost to Texas Lutheran 55-27. I know you wanted to get a fast start. It didn't happen as they jumped out 17-0, but you came back at halftime only trailing by 6, 20-14. But unfortunately, in the second half, things went more TLU's way, your way. As you've had a chance to sit down and talk with your coaches about what happened and what can you do to not have it happen again, just kind of give me a general impression of the game and how it transpired.
You bet. Like you said, we really want to start a lot faster than what we did. But when you get into halftime and it's 20-14, I believe, against the top 30 ranked opponent at your house, and you're getting the ball second half, I think everybody would take that and just receive the football, go down, score. You're up 21-20. Let's never look back. And I really feel like that that's what our plan was. I feel like our guys were fixing ready to do that. We didn't go out and execute that. We had a bad third quarter, Mike, and you cannot have a bad quarter, any of them, against a good football team. And our third quarter was awful. And so we've got to do a better job executing. We've been working on that all week at practice, and I think our young men are ready to respond to that adversity they faced.
One thing that Ray Delk and I noticed in the broadcast booth was just how much attention Tyler Bates gets when he runs a pattern. And, of course, TLU, just like the previous week when you played Louisiana College, they kind of double and triple team. But you kind of spread it around in the game. A lot of different players caught balls Saturday night.
Well, we're going to have to. I mean, we're too talented with our offensive skill positions to sit there and just focus on one guy. And teams, I mean, I would too. They're going to take away Tyler Bates, or at least try to attempt to. And so us as an offense, we've got schemes. Coach Walton does a phenomenal job running our offense. And we're spreading that ball around. We're getting better and better each week at doing that. And I think you'll see more of that, Mike. And that way it'll take the double coverage or putting a guy over the top, a safety over the top of Tyler Bates, and we'll start seeing that come back open. But until we more consistently make them pay with other players, that's what we're going to see.
Now, I don't know if I read this correctly or not, but it looked like on Tyler Bates running routes, they would rather cause a penalty in order for him not to catch the ball. It kind of looked that way as he had opportunities to catch the ball and go, but he's like to interfered with him deliberately so he wouldn't do that. Is that kind of a strategy sometimes for a defense? You're a defensive coordinator. That's why I'm asking you the question.
Well, I don't know about the officiating or the causing penalties, or I don't know anything about that. I do know that you need to put somebody somewhere close to the line of scrimmage over Tyler. You need to put somebody over the top of Tyler, and that's what we've been seeing the past couple of weeks. Okay. Yes, sir.
All right. All right, Coach. I know you like to name a special teams player each week. This year, your emphasis on special teams, and kind of talk about a young man that had a great kickoff return that really put some spark in things.
Yeah, Dominic Haggerty, he's our special teams player of the week again, and man, he's been electric the past 2 weeks on special teams for us, the past 2 games, and just a young man from Shreveport, Louisiana that, man, when you put the ball in his hand, he's special. And they kicked it to him the first time. He went 76 yards. Didn't quite make it to the end zone, but gave our offense phenomenal field position, and we recognized him this week.
But you also had some good returns from Delonzo Freeman as well.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, there's so many good skill guys on our football team. I mean, we've got to put them all back there, and they've all got to get weapons. So if you're going to kick away from one, then the other one's got to make you pay. And Delonzo did a great job answering the bell with that.
Any defensive players that impressed you in that game against CLU Saturday night?
I really thought that, there's a lot. Garrett Gibson had a lot of tackles and had an interception. And he's been coming on each week, did a really, really good job. I thought Caleb next to him, Caleb Taylor, played really good at linebacker. Bryce Hale, one of our senior captains, was just lights out up front. I mean, normally he's in there having a great game, doing a bunch of dirty work, but he's making the play and everything on Saturday night. Really felt like Bryce had a really good game as well.
Sam Williams had a 96-yard pick six.
Sam didn't do too bad himself. He's normally roaming down the middle. He's a big old tall young man in the back, and he's normally, he'd lay a few hits on some people. People know him when he's back there. I mean, they know those receivers. They kind of know where 23 is at all times. Excuse me. And Sam made him pay one time in the flat. They threw it out there, and he picked it and had an entourage going on the sidelines, and that's the fun part.
Visiting with Josh Eargle, head coach of Tiger football, here today on ETBU Extra, broadcasting live from the Huffman Student Activities area on the first floor of the Ornella Student Center. And, Coach, this week you move into a game against Howard Payne. You're back in playing a conference game. Last week was a non-conference game with TLU. You're winning on conference play as you travel to Brownwood. And I went back early today and looked at last year's game, and I forgot that we lost to them by 1 point last year, 55-54.
How could you forget that, Mike? It was the last play of the game. It was 9 seconds on the clock. It was at home. It was in our end zone to the north in the right corner of the end zone.
I know. I didn't want to go back and look, but I don't know how I forgot that. But as you go to Brownwood, do you use what happened last year to motivate your players? Or your players really don't need to be motivated to play?
Yeah, if they need to be motivated, extrinsically motivated like that, I mean, we got the wrong group of guys. I like the way our guys are coming to work this week. I like their mindset. We're focused on being 1-0 this week. Last year doesn't affect the way you play this year. Last week doesn't affect the way you play. It's just about making plays in the moment and executing your call to the best of your ability that God's blessed you with.
Let's talk about your opponent in Howard Payne. They are, of course, a member of the American Southwest Conference. ETBU's been playing them since they got back in football in 2000. Kind of give me a scouting report on your opponent that you meet Saturday at 2 p.m. at Gordonwood Stadium.
They're a really good football team. They've been in a lot of close football games this season, and they've come out on the bad end of them, but they've got us invited for homecoming, and that seems like, this time of year we get invited for a lot of people's homecoming. So we're trying to change that a little bit. And spoil their party, so to speak. But, very, very talented football team we're playing. Play hard-nosed defense, just like you would expect from a Roger Geis coached football team. Special teams, they do a really good job of scheming you and doing some things that make you prepare for things you don't see every other week. And then offensively, they got a great quarterback in Richard Young, and he's been throwing it to an outstanding receiver for it seems like forever now, ever since I've been here, and they've been doing a really good job. And
Colby Micah is the one you're talking about.
That's exactly right, number 80. And I remember numbers. You got the names, Mike. and they do a phenomenal job of moving the ball down the field. They play. I think we've charted 7 different tailbacks back there. So they got a slew of kids they can play, and they're effective in what they do. And we're going to have our hands full play on the road in a great venue in Gordonwood Stadium.
You grew up a little bit of your life in Brownwood. What's it like going back to Brownwood? And I know you played some games yourself at that stadium.
Yeah, it's nice to go back and see family and see former Sunday school teachers and former Little League coaches and childhood friends. But it's we're on a business trip, and so we're going down there with one thing in mind. I tell you, the thing that gets me most excited about is just Gordonwood Stadium. I mean, there's so much history in that stadium and what's been done there, and Brownwood, the city of Brownwood and Brownwood Independent School District had so much success there. And the first thing you see, you walk out in the stadium, it's got their logo with 7 stars over it. So you know what those mean for them. Those are all the 7 state championships they won. And so there's just a lot of great aura that goes on with that stadium. It's a great venue for our young men to go play and learn about the history of the game.
Tigers play Howard Payne at 2 p.m. kickoff in Brownwood. Game can be heard right here on the ETBU Sportsnet. Coach, kind of go with me some keys to the game for the Tigers to be successful Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, what we've got to do is we've got to start fast. I think that's important for our football team. We haven't done that the past few weeks, and we need the confidence of starting fast, but we also need just to be able to get in a rhythm offensively and defensively and special teams for us to be able to have to be successful on Saturday. And I think that's going to be crucial in a hostile environment where they're celebrating everything good about their school. And so we've got to take all the good stuff about us and all the good memories we have about ETBU on the road with us, and we've got to go there and execute and play extremely well. But I think it all comes down to a quick start for Tigers.
Well, Jordan McNeil is going to be our next guest here, your running back. Give us a scouting report on him if you were an opposing coach trying to stop him.
There's no way you can stop Jordan McNeil. I mean, if you're gonna try to stop him, you better pack the box, and you can't tackle him with one guy. He's got a spin move. He'll jump over the top of you like we've seen in the second week. He'll run through you. He'll jump cut and go beside you. I mean, Jordan McNeil, you can see from this past week him having 3 touchdowns. He's a special back, and we're very, very blessed at ETBU to have a couple of those.
don't know if you noticed, but in the TLU game, one of their guys tried to jump over one of our guys that didn't make it.
No, we've seen that move before. That's right. We've seen that before.
Well, Coach, best to you and your Tigers.
Thank you.
Always good to talk Tiger football with you. Tigers play Howard Payne Saturday, 2 p.m. kickoff right here on the ETB Sports Net. Don't go away, because coming up next on ETB Extra, as Coach Eargle made comments about, Jordan McNeil, running back for the Tigers, will be our guest next. Back with more ETBU Extra in just a moment.